a round of applause for Kai.
Thank you very much, Ben. Thank you, FCSI team, for offering us this platform to explore together on how does technology and AI robotics work in restaurant and the food and beverage business. So my name is Kai. I'm in charge of product solutions in Botinkit, and Botinkit is a robotic company. Later on, I'm going to run through everything to you, okay? So first of all, since everyone is in this industry, you're all very familiar with this challenge. This is a survey conducted by an organization called Market Experts. So this is something that we see from different food and beverage providers, service providers like restaurants, hotels, and resorts. These industries and the owners give us this result. And also, as some of you might have attended to the panel discussion just happened, they all mentioned like staff shortage, the workflow, equipment function, inventory, customer service delays. All of these kind of things happen, and I'm sure you are very familiar with what could happen in there. Okay, so today our session is that from our point of view, we want to give you an explore on how do we see these problems and how does AI and robotics can go counter these problems. Let's say it's cyber counter problems, all right? So here I'm just listing all the key players in this industry. Some of them is like cooking robots, like what we do. It's like Rationale, you are all very familiar with, and Purdue robots. So all of them can form up a one all-in-one solution so that we can move one step ahead to save some troubles, to have less headaches, so that you can have more time to engage with customers, make the customer feel special, okay? So here, I'm just moving on to this, all of your operational challenges. As I listed all in down here, like supply chain, marketing, kitchen establishment, and all of these, most of these that we see a very clear way to move forward with all of the cyber solutions that we can have, okay? And just to give you some background of my company, Botinkit. Okay, so that is just a brief introduction of our company here, Botinkit. But today I'm not just only going to focus on some product or only one line of this industry. I'm trying to share my insights about this food and beverage business, all of the challenge as we show in the very first page, and how do we see it, and what is our experience with all the case study discussions, all right? So, okay, first one, actually we heard a lot of questions that the chefs is asking. Is this robot going to take our job? Okay, this is a very, very frequent question that we got asked. And as you can see here, the two curves, the white curve is a human chef. I would say is an excellent chef in human being, that he is able to achieve excellent taste. Okay, and the yellow curve here is the robotic, but we are now more focusing on more of a consistency. Do we achieve the best taste as excellent as the human chef? Today, I don't see it. To be honest, I don't see it. When a human chef is trying to build the excellency and have the best taste of a dish, it's always better than the robot. But here, as you can see, chef is a human being, so he gets tired, he gets irritated. Sometimes he gets a debate with somebody else, then mood gets affected. So when the mood gets affected, the performance here is actually gets a bit of up and downs. So this is the major challenge that we see from a day-to-day operation side. So how do we make sure the consistency is over there, okay? So this is the observation we see. No matter on the volume side or on the day-to-day operation consistency side, that robot has a better advantage. And then here, this is a model that we got from one of our clients. Later on, I'm going to give you a case study about this client. This client is, first of all, it operated in one place, and later on, they spread around the world, and they have a big scale up, okay? So what is the difference between a traditional kitchen and the robotic kitchen? The traditional kitchen's taste is more of relying on the supervisors supervising, okay? So if this restaurant is, let's say, within 5 kilometers or 50 kilometers where you can still travel over and find out, is there a problem? Is the taste still up according to your requirement? Yes, you can. But think about if there is a branch that is like 5,000 kilometers away, what would you do? It's pretty hard to make a decision, or even because taste is a taste, it's not a data. So it's difficult to spot it out when you are 5,000 kilometers away. So this is what a traditional kitchen, let's say, it's a challenge that we could face, okay? The robotic, as you can see, there's a bit of curve here as well. And this is actually what we observed with our client when they do the scale up worldwide. So for example, here, as you can see, there is a bit of deviation over here, and the taste is even get worse. Why is that? It's because that the water hardness is different, the ingredients is different, and the sauce is different, and all of these factors, when they come into the fact, and you can see there is a bit of deviation. And then quickly, we can recover. But then, as you can see, it actually improved. How can it improve? Robotic is robotic, right? How can it improve? Two factors that we see in here. First of all, robotic and IT or AI, they are changing very fast. They are having a very big advantage of growing themselves. So that is why that AI and robotics is able to help us to make this taste more stable and getting better. And why it gets even better here is because that we are actually trying to combine the advantage of robots and the humans' advantage together so that we can centralize this robot and develop the recipe pure just for the robot. And then this gets actually a very good result. It gives us a better taste. So this is the curve that we observe from one of our clients, okay? And then here's a case study. So first of all, because we've been talking about consistency, no matter by volume or by distance, by day-to-day operations mood. And this is one case study. So first of all, this is a client that I listed all the numbers down here. I'm not going to read it for you, okay? But first, he only has 48 stores in China, okay? And in 2 years' time, look at this. See, apart from this, we have this revenue grow. We have the margin actually show up very quickly. So this is what a consistency can do. And also, actually, this gives me a lot of inspiration is because at first, I thought consistency is just for dish quality. No, it's not just for dish quality, okay? So first of all, have you ever think about how much of ingredients save can you have if you have the consistency? One of their stores, actually, one day they shift to an assistant chef. Okay, assistant chef have a different philosophy of cooking these things, and the SOP wasn't established at the time. So at that time, they found their food waste that day was very significant because people do not like that taste, and it's not the same taste this franchise restaurant always offering. And with the consistency, these things will never happen. And the second thing is that with this consistency and with the co-pilot, we call this robot the co-pilot of a chef. With this, and you can actually save a lot of your time to leave it to the machine, and then you can come out no matter interacting with your staff or you want to interact with a customer. It's all up to you. So actually, that is what it saves you, and also that is what consistency can support, okay? So this is the very first case study. And then now let's talk about hotels. I would say hotel, casino, resort, they are in a very similar scenario, is that their requirement is a bit different from the restaurant client that we have. The very first thing is that very long serving hours. As you can see this bar, you need to have a 24-hour service in a hotel, especially in casino. When you go to somewhere and you want to eat something, you can't expect that it's all closed and you have to starve and you still want to keep gambling, right? It's not gonna happen. So with this long working hours, you're gonna facing two challenges. One is that you're gonna hire a lot of chefs. Two is that if you hire somebody who's not competent enough, whenever the chef is not there and the taste deviate, and then that is when you have the headache. All right, so that is what we observed. So now here, as you can see, if we have the 0 o'clock until 24 o'clock, and we have the assistant cook and chef, our assistant cook, what can we achieve? First of all, we can make sure there's only one chef and one operator that is helping with this machine and the food service. 24 hours, that is lounge and room service, you can have 24 hours. I don't know how many of you experience this difficulty, is that I want to eat something in the afternoon, but there is only cold plate in the executive lounge. When you want to have something else late in the night, sorry, you can only have noodles, nothing else. So what if you have a VIP in here and then they want a stir fry? You can't cook it, or the assistant cook is not capable of making in their style. Difficult. So now with the machine, we're able to do that, and then it comes to a second part, the buffet scenario. Buffet, I would say it is not the highest requirement on the taste. It is more on the variety. It's more on the consistency, and also it's about volume, okay? So if we have this scenario and the robot kicks in to help you do the preparation, you only have to do the setup once, and then everything else, it takes care for you, okay? That is something that we want, and also we want to make sure we have 1,000 options. You see, one interesting conversation I had with a client is that he asked me, what if my menu have to change month by month because the ingredients price is different. I have a very, very thin margin and I want to save every penny I have on the ingredients. What should I do? I say, well, that's an easy thing to do because, for example, cucumber and tomatoes, that is something that you have a very abundant supply this month, and next month, no, it's not, it's eggplant. Well, then you can change your menu because this machine can store, let's say, 1,000, 10,000 recipes, and you just roll it out, and then just to make sure whenever you have a good ingredient supply, and then is as long as it's cost efficient, then go for it. So that is something that we see on this buffet scenario. It's large volume, right? And then this one is another interesting case is that, for example, Tim is an Australian. I'm a Chinese. We have very, very different ideas on Kung Pao chicken taste, okay? He likes it sweeter. I like it sour, okay? So if we have two different flavor preferences, what do? Okay, the hotel normally they have one recipe and then whoever order it and then they can get the same Kung Pao chicken. So what if you have the CRM system and then you integrate our profile into the CRM system? When I have a call, give a call to the service center, they know I'm a Chinese. So as a Chinese, they know normally a Chinese likes this flavor preference. Okay, then go for it. And Tim call again. Okay, this is on an Australian flavor. So this is something that we can do with a machine. You don't have to memorize with all of these recipes. How do you put the salt and pepper and vinegar together? You don't have to think about it. It's only about recording the recipe in the machine and then forget about it. You can go find out which is the ingredients you want to develop next, okay? So this is about the hotel scenario. And then next one is the dishes on the table. Remember, in the very first slide, we talk about the challenges. One of the major challenges in restaurant is that the delayed service in the restaurants, okay? So the delayed service is because of what? Think about one scenario. If someone is running a restaurant somewhere, so your POS system, whenever the client is ordering something, it prints a little slip, and then someone passes on the slip to the back of house, and then the back of house take it over, and then started to sequence it together. Okay, make it into queues and then first come, first serve. So that was the traditional way of doing it. But what about someone lost the slip? That always happened. They lost the slip, they passed on the wrong slip, and then they made the wrong queue. Then what happened? You're gonna have no dish served, and then you see all of the tables next to you got served, and you get angrier, and finally you get a 1 star, right? You get a 1 star. So that's what happened. Now, I believe this intelligent kitchen system could help our current difficulty. So this is something that we designed as well, just trying to find out how can we optimize the kitchen workflow, how to optimize, how to connect the front of house and the back of house operation procedure to streamline it, all right? Okay, so this is the streamline. It's a bit of too much of letters. Let me guide you through, okay? So first of all of these A06, B01, that is table number. So whoever orders something and then it just goes straightly to the central management system, and then with all of these come into the smart consolidation. For example, I'm ordering this dish here and he's ordering the same dish on the other table. Why don't we consolidate and make it into one, right? So we can support like 1 to 5 portions, all the same taste, and then it's consolidated, saving energy, saving power, and then giving you more production capacity. So that is the target for doing that, okay? After smart consolidation is the smart scheduling, because normally we have like 4 to 6 robots in one restaurant. Restaurants is like 250 square meters big, 120 seats. So in that case, every robot can have its specialized ingredient settings, okay? So their seasoning setting is different, and then something is specialized on this dish, some robot is specialized on that dish. So in that case, it gives the special scheduling distribution to each and every robot, but there could always be some mistake. All right, and as you can see in here, so think about if you are the owner of the restaurant, you want to know what's happening on the floor. You don't want to sit behind your desk, want to know. Either you have to go walk around or you have to get somebody up to report to you. Now, check on this dashboard. See how many minutes did every table wait, okay? Full waiting period. Normally now in China, the SLA is around 20 minutes to 25 minutes to finish one table, one round of serving, okay? But there are some very unhappy customer over here that's been waiting for 38 minutes and not finishing its serving. Okay, it gives you alert, and then this dish is going to serve first, just to make sure that the table satisfaction is still here. So this is super effective on customer satisfaction management from our current experiment. And also there's another scenario. Think about that. When you have a restaurant, you have a private dining room, okay? This is all VIP sitting over there. At the same time, there's takeaway orders that is sitting next to you, okay? And then actually the driver is already here coming to pick it up. You will have to decide who to serve first. Shall we serve the VIP first, or shall we serve the takeout order first? It's a question, okay? You might have your different opinions, but from my observations, most of the restaurants, they serve the takeaways first. Because the driver's waiting there, you get the order done, and then you get a satisfaction. Why the VIP can wait is because when the VIP is sitting in the private dining room to dine, normally they are in a discussion. They're talking, they are getting occupied. So eating here is not their primary target, is to social, okay? So that is why that they have a different priority setting. And with this system, that whichever operating system that is able to help you with doing that, you can actually set up the priority of each streamline, okay? Just to make sure that that setting is going according to your market situation, the scenario that you prefer, okay? So this is about the scheduling system. Earlier when we mentioned, we say the streamline is a bit of mess, the SOP is not that clear, the workflow management is different, and with everyone is doing different things, it's difficult. So the best way is to get the help from the system you establish. It's not by human being management, because we all get tired someday, right? Okay, so then we're gonna talk about some very interesting observations we see. To be honest, at first, when we first launched this device, when we first launched this robot, we didn't think about this kind of advantages. We thought, well, maybe our restaurant clients, they can save some cost. The operation cost can be cut. Maybe the kitchen crew can get happier. They can have a smaller package or whatever. We were thinking about that, but we never thinking about the rest. So these are the observations that we have in one of our clients in China. Okay. So first of all, let's read the title. We save 35% of kitchen crew package with less staff turnover, okay? First of all, how did we do it? The cooks, the woke cooks, actually, they are not here anymore. This is the number one, but the chef is still here, right? The chef is still there to make sure the taste is up to the standard, okay? But why the staff turnover gets better? Okay, this is a question. In the panel discussion, they are also discussing how to make sure we have more younger generation joining our industry. From my point of view, the only way is fundamentally change the working environment. If it is still a hard labor to do, no one's gonna like it, especially the current younger generations. If they have a better option, if you do a cashier job, you can sit in a room with air conditioner, and this is back of house, okay? So This is number one. Number two, don't forget the inflation that we are facing. The wages package is growing year by year and people's salaries getting more and more. So in this case, even if you catch up this trend, that still means you get only the average talent. You don't get the real talent. How do we get a real talent that's above the average line? We even give them more. Look at this. See, previously, our operators here, that is the helper of the cooks, now they get 20% of increase. With 20% increase, you're definitely going to get a better talent on the market, okay? You will never face the difficulty of this shortage. This is number one. Number two is that before, if they have to stir the wok that difficult, well then, now this never happens because you just press the button and then you can leave. At the same time, remember, this thing helps you to save the time. What do you do with this time? Do you just do chit-chat or you want to have a smoke? No, there are talents. Remember, we are talking about the talents that is 20% above the market, all right? So these talents, I see what they wanted to do is that they want to learn from the chef and they want to create digital recipes. Remember, creating digital recipe, that means you are adapting to this new future and then you have a brighter future to become somebody that's actually being creative instead of doing only hard labor, okay? So this is one of the observations that we see. First of all, the kitchen crew package gets less. At the same time, 20% increase on the talents that we want to hire. And then here, you see the same picture, but I put it into 2 slides. Why is that? Because this is not about money. It's about less headcounts that you have to manage. This is completely different from a wages save, completely different from the operational cost cut, because managing less headcount means less chaos. Don't ask me where I learned that, but in my experience, that normally happens, okay? When you have less people to manage, when they have a better workflow, a clearer workflow, you're easier to streamline them and they are more agile. Very agile, very flexible, and then later on, they have a better production, okay? And then finally, this is about the revenue potentials. Okay, look at this. So, first of all, the production capability I never mentioned to you, but it actually from our experiment, 2 robots is better than 2 chefs. Okay, only productivity. Okay, and now this is a dining buffet or a la carte buffet that we have in somewhere in the world. Okay, so in here, that actually you can see before they have the long queues outside and they have to wait, and also the table turnovers gets less. So that is the pain point. They want to earn more because this is the seat that you have over here. You want to turn over like 2-3 times, right? So now the capability here that they can serve more so that there are less queues, but this is not the best part. We can all assume this part happening. But the good part is that they have headroom to produce more food. What do you do with the more food, right? So think about that. Now you've served with all of your seats and everyone is happily eating. Okay, you still have more productivity. You can have a ghost kitchen. It's the same kitchen you have, and then at the same time you product different dishes for different streamlines. Okay, for example, this restaurant, actually they open up a new brand just for takeouts, okay? With this new brand for takeout, look at their revenue. Their revenue increased 22%. Actually, this is the latest status. Earlier, what they told me is that with this new revenue stream that I get, it's like I open 8 days a week. I earn 1 day of revenue with 7 days of takeout. At that time, it is still not 22% yet, but now it's 22%, okay? So in the end, I discussed with some consultants and also some owners of big restaurants and big hotels. So this is what I took away from them. Okay, so first of all, are we only talking about dish quality? Are we talking about service quality? If you want to run this restaurant for another 100 years, reputation is something that you want to have, right? What does reputation give you? Is the brand equity. And the brand equity here is not just above there in the air. It has many factors over here. It has consistency, it's the timing, the management, all of these factors that you have to think of that what we can do to ensure the brand equity goes up. So in that case, you are able to run for another 100 years. Okay? So this is what I see that robotic can help you as we discuss. Here is a takeaway. First of all, the production is getting a lot more than before. Secondly, is that the consistency, because it's robot, it cooks always the same taste. And third is that it never gets tired. It gives you super long working hours, and then you can still expect the same result. With that result, you can go anywhere, and as long as you know that the robot is taking charge of your taste, you can have an ease of mind. So I always like to give this example, is that McDonald's, is it so tasty? Is the burger the best you have? Maybe not. But when you go to somewhere that you're not familiar with and you want to eat something, when you see a McDonald's, you always know what you can expect. We also want this kind of brand equity that when they see your brand, they know what they can expect. So this is the consistency, what it provides you. And also here is about the inconsistency. What gives us is the risk exposure. So the risk exposure is something that, for example, what if your crew wants to move to another restaurant? Inconsistency comes. What if your chef does not have a good mood today? What if he falls sick, right? Excuse me. So in this case, if you have a VIP come over to your restaurant, to your hotels, and they have a different taste, and then that is 1 point less of your brand equity. That is 1 point more of your risk exposure. So that is something that I see that AI and robotics can actually support you on enhancing brand equity and minimize the risk exposure. So that's most of my presentation. Here's our slogan, all right? Thank you, everyone. So if any questions, should I read it from this screen here?
Is there any question? Anyone? Oh.
Yeah, I don't think we had the pigeon activated for this one. So if there's any questions we can take from the crowd or anybody like to ask? Tim? You look like eager you wanted to say something. Auburn? Yeah, you go ahead.
Thank you so much. Not so much a question as I have a client who, you know, who run a cafeteria in Hong Kong. When the staff come in, they put their what they want to eat on a screen, on the screen on the way in. They pay. By the time they have got in the queue, the order has been fed through to the Botinkit, and the meal has been cooked. And by the time they get to the end of the queue, their freshly prepared meal is ready for them. And that is with no intervention, if you like. It just automatically happens. So there are opportunities not just for hotels, there are opportunities for hospitals, cafeterias, and all sorts of other venues. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your input, Tim. Thank you. Yeah, you're very right. So today I only listed franchise restaurant and hotels as an example, but also as for QSRs, like the cafes that we also see the client. And So one of the clients is very interesting that he never opened a restaurant before. He doesn't know how to manage a restaurant. He just have one store and he wants to do a restaurant business. Okay, so before he never dared to open a restaurant business because managing a kitchen crew or chef or hiring all of these things he doesn't know. Okay, so now we have this robot over there, and then put the preset menus in there, and then he can start the business. And later on, if he wants more dishes, more recipes, as long as it's a subscription fee that we can have the dishes to be served. And I believe this can also help a lot of people, no matter what age or what career you have. As long as you want to do this, you have a shot.
Question. You talked about recipes being built in there, and you talked about even a la carte and bulk. I understand from that you can cook up to 5 kilos, batches of up to 5 kilos. Question is that if you're doing Kung Pao chicken and you're doing 1 serve of Kung Pao chicken and you're doing 5 kilos of Kung Pao chicken, obviously time, temperature, all of those come into play. How does the Botinkit manage that?
Okay, first of all, 1 portion and 5 kgs is very different. First of all, the power consumption, or let's say the power curve is different. Seasoning is different, but we can be very sure it's not like 50 times different, okay, if 1 portion is 100 grams. Okay, so now what we do is that normally, only going to tell you what can happen now, today, all right? I'm not going to tell you it can happen in the future. Today, what you might want to do is that to set 5 different portions of serving, okay? For example, normally you serve 1 portion, 5 portion, 10 portion, or 20 portion. Okay. In this case, we can do the presettings and then have the recipes for different portions. And later on, when you want different portion, and then just do the creation. The seasoning, everything will be accompanied in this digital recipe.
Excellent. So what you're saying is that once you code in 1 portion, the heat and whatever else it is will be customized for 1 portion.
That's right.
Oh, that's it. Excellent.
That's right.
Okay. So because I'm thinking it's that vessel is one big unit. And it's get heated. I mean, when you're doing one portion, you only need the bottom of the vessel to be hot, as opposed to the whole thing. So
yeah,
how's that managed? Is there a waste of energy if you're heating the whole vessel up, or does it only heat the bottom for 1 portion?
Well, no, it doesn't work like that. So first of all, I wouldn't say there's a power waste in there, but I need to tell you, the 5 kg Kung Pao chicken's taste is definitely not going to be as good as 500 kgs. So that one, I'm very sure of it. Because, first of all, think about this. If you want to do a 5 kg Kung Pao chicken, you might need 25 kilowatt of the pot, because it needs to heat that much of ingredients. Okay, but this kind of power consumption, normal kitchen does not support. So that is why now our power consumption is up to 15 kilowatt. But what you said is also valid, is that, for example, if you want to cook 500 kgs, and that means the 500 kg is only going to be cooked at 8 kilowatt. But if you go to 5 kgs, and then it's going to go max from very beginning to the 15 kilowatt. So that is what it's gonna do to make sure that it's customized to different things. And also one more question, information I can give you is that before we see clients have difficulty in customizing all the equipments because they are professional chefs, they are not engineers. So that is why we have a bunch of professional chefs familiar with this machine, just to make sure that the client can actually launch their dish whenever they have the machine. So that is important. For example, what you just said about the Kung Pao chicken, if you need 5 different recipes of different portions, and then this is something that the chef ambassador have to do for you. Okay.
Can you just take us through from the time of... I'm just a little bit unsure what you're trying to say to us today. You kind of get into a certain point of the operation. I want to say, give me an overview, big picture of from receiving to the point where the meal goes to the table. How much of your robotics are going to be involved in that actual daily operation?
Okay.
Because to me, I felt, it could be me, you seem to miss something out. You're kind of centering on a certain part of the operation. So the human element is still going to be very well involved. To me, it wasn't clear, and it's not a criticism. I'm just trying to get an understanding in my mind.
All right. So maybe let me go back to that page so that I can explain to you over that page. All right. Here, this one. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to show you the workflow from a client ordering until the dish actually served to the table. Is that right? Huh? Yeah?
Come into the kitchen today.
Yeah, sorry?
Sorry, I want to go prior to that. I want to go to the point where goods are delivered into a raw product, going right through from storage to preparation, cooking, and serving. So to me, you're not putting everything on you're not covering everything. You're only covering parts of the operation.
Yes, you are very right. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. So the raw ingredients side, we are not covering that part. So our system now, we are doing R&D with one of our clients, trying to make forecast for the ingredients purchase and for the servings that they could have for the next week and next month. Okay. But raw ingredients processing, that is not covered in here. Our process is only covering from you ordering a dish until the dish is serving to your table. Not the full picture. Yes.
Hi, can I ask a question? Normally we say a dish delicious or not. Sometimes depends on chef experience, right? Is chef 25 years or chef 5 years a difference? And also depends sometimes according to the situation on the flexibility, adaptabilities. So what do you see from these robot kitchens and kind of lack of human touch, and how to address on the gap from the flavor, taste perspective, as well as the taste quality perspective?
That's a good question. So let me go back to this curve. Okay, so this is the curve that here it's what you said is lack of human touch. First of all, you are very right in a certain period, because in that period, the only human touch is touch on the screen. That's the only human touch. But remember, who gave the recipe to the robot? Is a chef. A chef have to give this recipe to the robot, okay? So as you can see here in the white curve, what is a chef's capability? If that is a 25 years experienced chef, that he knows how to make sure the dish tastes better, how to use new ingredients and make experiment, right? So his peak is over here. The chef's peak is over here. So he has to make sure this co-pilot robot can have this curve goes higher and higher to approaching his peak performance, okay? So the human touch is here. For example, when the chef have this machine, then he has to record the recipe. When to dispense the oil, when to dispense the salt, when to dispense the starch, and when to put in the chicken cubes, to setting to which temperature. So that is the human touch, I would say. So after this human touch, after let's say 2 to 3 rounds of experiment, and then finally, okay, now this is a taste that's achieving, let's say, 95% of my peak performance. All right, done. Save it, and then from today until you want to change the recipe, it's going to be the same taste. Okay, so I wouldn't say this is a chef, because I would say this is a co-pilot. The chef has to be the spirit, have to design a recipe, have to digitalize the recipe. The rest, leave it to the robot. Whatever hard labor job, leave it to the robot.
Hi, Kai.
Hi.
Rahul Talwar from India. Well, I've got a question. What is the minimum quantity that your bot can make?
Minimum.
Minimum, yeah. How many grammage is the minimum quantity that it can make? And what's the maximum?
Okay, the minimum we see is from case by case, all right? For example, stir fry, the minimum we do is like 200 grams. But a stew has to go above 800 to 1 kg, around there, okay? And the maximum is also depends. First of all, I would say for normal users, if you are not a super expert of using robot, I suggest you keep it below 8 kgs. Anything below 8 kgs. But to be honest, someone tried with 16 kgs, it still works. But I don't recommend it.
No, because I'm looking at it more from the sort of clientele that we have. We work in the corporate workspace segment, and we're trying to see that on-site cooking that's currently happening in the offices can be streamlined much better.
Yes, it can. Actually, I can give you one example that we interacted with our client in China. So they have many plants in China, factories that they have workers to come over. This is number one, and their peak hours per day is around rush hour per day 6 hours, because workers they take shifts, right? And secondly, they don't only want to serve the workers, they also want to serve the administration team, okay, the management. And they can't sacrifice the taste in that manner, okay? And at the same time, they don't want the cook be on site all day long. So with all of this, what they do is that they have a worker menu that serves in big volume. They even use a hot fridge to keep the food warm, and then they use 12 machines all together running at the same time, just trying to make sure that the first peak hour they can catch it. At the same time, they have another set of menu that is the administration menu. Administration menu, normally they serve dish by dish. It's not like they cook 3-5 portions all together. No, only one portion every time. So in that case, they record that recipe for the administration with our chefs supporting as well, so that they are able to facilitate with 2 different scenarios easily.
So another question, I'm taking a cue from what you just answered. Now, when you look at traditional kitchen equipment versus your bot, do you see a reduction in footprint in terms of the area required for operations?
Yes, yes. Actually, that is also something we think about even before we come out with this device, all right, this robot. So the size of this thing is just trying to replace whatever traditional wok had in the kitchen. This is number one. But one concern, I know your concern, and I must say part of your concern is true, is that we are not able to replace any wok, because kitchen and kitchen is different. So now most of our client is trying to use our robot to do expansion, to do scale up in different location, new open stores, instead of renovating their current kitchen. So that is my observation. They can, of course, do the current renovation, but that is like taking less than 30% of our business.
So have you executed any such site where you have replaced the traditional equipment with yours and you've seen a considerable difference in the footprint that the equipment occupies per se?
Yes, my observation is that currently the footprint is not the bottleneck. That's what I see. The bottleneck is electricity. So, for example, a lot of our clients, they are a restaurant. One of their branches could be in an older community, and then the power supply does not comply with our requirement. Of course, we have another way to go around that. Maybe we can fine-tune the power limit to, let's say, 6 kilowatt. But remember, that's a big pot. That big pot, heating with 6 kilowatt, the food is not good enough. So we finally rejected this project because the taste doesn't go up to our standard.
Thank you so much for being patient and answering my question. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your question.
Just looking at restaurants, say a 100-seat restaurant, Asian cuisine, right? In peak service, you might have 20 tables running. Every table's got a combination of dishes going to it, right? And we're talking about quality and consistency. Mm-hmm. How do you handle that? What number of robots would you be putting in that kitchen to handle those numbers and that complexity of the orders coming through?
All right. So first of all, we have a tool to calculate how many robots would you need with different demand. For example, normally we just use table numbers, table quantities as an input to find out how many robots we could need, okay? And also now we are also assisting our client because think about that. It's not like 100% of our SKUs are stir fries or stews. We might have other dishes as well so that we can help you to make sure the kitchen setup is up to your standard, okay, up to your requirement. And also coming back to your question, if I take this as an example, 20 tables, I would say 1 machine to 2 machine, 2 robots can be good enough already. And that capacity can even support your takeaway orders. Yeah. And also, I also need to tell you is that the capacity, the production capability varies. That depends on your requirement on the taste. So we have different scenarios. Sometimes we're targeting the market segment that wants more value for money. Okay, so that you don't want to make the taste that good, but we just want to make it fast. We make it in a big volume, can supply sufficiently. That is what we wanted, okay? So in this case, the production capability can be super high because you don't mind too much on the taste. But on the other hand, if you have a fine dining restaurant that you want the dish quality, the taste to be excellent, normally we don't recommend more than 3 portions per servings on the pot. Okay, then I think my time's up. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, can we get a round of applause? Thank you.